Batman's driving motivation behind his career as the Caped Crusader is the painful memory of his parents' murder when he was a child. But what if he's remembering it wrong? Welcome to a tie-in video. I'm Scott, and I love learning about the fallibility of memory, so much so that at this point, I don't even trust anything that I remember to be true. But Batman, among a lot of other comic book characters, has been shown to have a photographic memory. He could easily recall memories in vivid detail that would help him get out of a jam, solve a mystery, or fuel the drive he has for being Batman in the first place. With a perfect recall of the night his parents were murdered, Bruce Wayne would look back at that time, reliving the pain that would inspire him to take up the cape and cowl and become the Batman, bringing justice to Gotham City. Except what if he wasn't born with a photographic memory and instead had to practice to achieve it? It was really hard to find some research on that, but thanks to Anthony on Twitter, I was able to dig up a panel from Batman number 12 from 1942. Here we see Robin testing Batman's memory by quizzing him on wanted criminals. However, the interesting thing is in the caption box. It states that this is a daily routine that Batman has to do in order to maintain his photographic memory, implying, at least to me, that Batman was not born with that perfect memory, but it was something that he had to learn over time, most likely after his parents' murder, when he was training both to be the physical and mental peak of human perfection. So what does this mean? Well, I think it means that Batman does not have a perfect photographic memory of the night that his parents were killed. But that's okay, you say. Batman thinks about that day, that moment, every time he suits up to go fight crime. He has a great memory of it because he thinks about it all the time. Well, not exactly. Studies have shown the exact opposite thing to be the case. I don't have time to go into a ton of detail here, so I will link to some sources in the description and also point out that I am not an expert in this subject, nor do I pretend to be. Basically, people have this idea that the brain is like a computer hard drive where you just experience something and you save that experience in a folder somewhere where you can pull it out later and reflect on that in perfect, or at least pretty accurate detail. In reality though, the act of remembering is really an act of creation. Every time you reflect on a memory, you aren't pulling it out of storage to look back on it, but your brain is actually recreating that experience. And here's the important part, you're actually altering that memory every time you remember it, tweaking it with new details depending on the state that you are in as you recall it. Still with me here, essentially the more you reflect on the memory, the less accurate it becomes. Again, sources in the description. So every single time that Batman reflects on the night of the murders, he's actually changing it in his mind. And since he does that so much, it's reasonable to think that his version of that night is radically different than how it actually went down. What about flashbulb memories, you say? Surely a traumatic event like that would create a highly detailed memory in anyone's mind, even if they didn't have a photographic memory. Good point. There is such a thing, a phenomenon known as flashbulb memories, where people claim to have incredibly accurate snapshots of extremely important events, both positive and negative. Flashbulb memories allow people to confidently recall vivid details of events and experiences that had huge impacts on their lives. However, confidence and vividness are not the same as accuracy. There have been studies done that I will of course link to below that show the consistency of details in everyday memories versus flashbulb memories over time, and they're really about the same. The main difference are how confident you are that your memory is accurate and how vividly you can see it in your mind compared to, like, what shirt you wore last week, unless it was a really memorable shirt, in which case you're still probably remembering it wrong. What do you guys think? Could Batman's memory of his parents' murder be completely different than how it actually happened? And is that a good thing? Maybe he's changing that memory to better suit the motivation that he needs at the time and the moment that he's reflecting on it. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Very interested in hearing what you guys think about this one. This video was a loose tie-in to a video I did on Wednesday about whether or not Deadpool was a ripoff of Deathstroke, which you can watch right here. We talk a little bit about the fallibility of memory at the end, so I'm counting it as a tie-in. It's one of my favorite episodes, so you can go watch it. Link in the description as well. And if this is your first time hanging out with us here at NerdSync, we do weekly comic book videos that enhance your understanding and enrich your comic book reading experience. We don't want you to miss out on any of it, so please hit that big, sexy subscribe button. Once again, I'm Scott. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you here on Monday for another episode of the NerdSync podcast. See ya.